What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be doing another top 5 video, and this one is going to be top 5 teams to rebuild right now for your next franchise as we wait for Madden 26 to drop. Now, I don't know the exact date that Madden is coming out yet, but we know that it comes out in August every year, which means we got 3 months before that game drops. And everybody is excited right now because we just had the draft happen. Everybody's got new players on the team. We maybe got new coaches, whatever it is. All right, so one thing to keep in mind is I made this list based off of the custom roster, which has all the new rookies in and all the updated free agency moves. And we're not using a start today like play in franchise. You're just starting a new franchise. Preseason week 1 of the 2024 season. The reason for that is because it just gets wonky if you don't do it this way. So you're going to see some slides that have all this information on them, and this is pertaining to me starting a fresh franchise, importing that roster, and looking at the team there, and I'll show you guys that too. So none of this information is like actual NFL. If you have any better teams, let me know down below, but these are the 5 that I put through, and these are the 5 that I think would be fun to put on a rebuild for if I'm looking for a team right now. So let's get started with the first team, which is the number 5 team, and that is the Indianapolis Colts. So you won't see my camera throughout this because, well, there's a lot of writing, and I don't think that my face is more important than the information. So for the Colts, you walk in with $58 million in cap space. They have all 7 of their draft picks. I put a tab up for re-sign, so that way if you know if there's any major things you have to worry about right out of the gate, you can see it here. The 2 things for the Colts is their O-line depth and their linebacker room is not in a good spot. So those are the 2 spots where you're probably gonna have to make some decisions early when it comes to the re-signs. Then over on the right side, you see the building blocks. Now these are players that are either super established and are franchise type players or younger players that I envision in Madden being worthwhile of building. Now, some people will look at this list and be like, well, there's a few other guys that are going to be really good. They might be, but Madden doesn't deem them such as yet. So this is what we're going with, what you can do in Madden. So what I got for the building blocks, as you can see there, quite a few big names: Taylor, Josh Downs, Adonai Mitchell, Tyler Warren, the rookie tight end, a couple of linemen that you don't have to worry about rebuilding the whole thing there. Latu, I think I said his name wrong. I'm sorry if I did. Travarius Ward, Jalen Jones, and Nick Cross. A couple of young players, a couple of established veterans. You have yourself a pretty decent building stone with the Colts. And now the rebuild focus. This is obviously what you need to worry about. These are the questions that I ask myself when I look at the team. So what I'm looking at is, what are you going to do at quarterback? Obviously, Anthony Richardson hasn't worked out. I don't think there's a lot of hope for Daniel Jones in that room. So what is the next step? Do you try to build Richardson up in Madden? Do you just call it quits and just rebuild a whole different quarterback room? That's something you're going to have to think about. Do you like the wide receiver room? There's a couple of guys, like obviously the guys that I mentioned on the previous slide, really good, Josh Downs, Adonai Mitchell, but what do you do with the rest? Do you like the rest of the guys? Is Pittman somebody you're going to keep long term? You might have to do some shaking up there. Center and right guard need to be replaced, of course. Your defensive line, you can see the next 2, really your whole front 7, you just need to figure it out. The left end needs to be addressed. The defensive tackles are both in their 30s, and the linebacker room just needs to be fully rebuilt. So there's a lot of focus on the front 7 for this team, but there are some fun pieces to it. So that is why I have them as number 5 on my list. So now for the number 4 team. This one is, they're a number 4 because it's a been there, done that team. But I feel like with some of the players from last year, one of the guys they brought in this year, and some of the questions, it is still a very viable team to focus on, and that is going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars. So the Jaguars, they've got $94.9 million in cap space in the file. Now, I don't know why, but in this file, in Madden 25's franchise, they got a ton of cap space. Plus, they have all of their 7 picks, plus Minnesota's 3rd and 4th round picks, so you have some extra draft capital to work with. And they do not have any big names that you need to worry about re-signing, which means that you don't really have to worry too much about keeping things in check with the team. You just got to worry about building it and adding to it. And now for the building blocks, not too many names on this list, which is why I wanted to put them in here. You have to find those building blocks. And some of these are even up to you if you think that they are worthwhile of building around, like Tank Bigsby. Are you a fan of him? Are you not? Brian Thomas Jr. can be a stud if you can build him up and give him some help. Trayvon Walker, of course, Josh Hines-Allen, Devin Lloyd, and of course, the real reason that I made sure to put them on the list, Travis Flippin Hunter is here. Where do you put him? Wide receiver, corner, who knows? And then as the rebuilding portion of it, I already mentioned some of these in the last slide. What do you do with Trevor Lawrence? He has had year after year after year of sort of just not living up to what he was supposed to be. They've paid him a lot of money. Now, are you going to continue to just let him be the starter? Are you going to fix Trevor Lawrence, or are you going to restart at quarterback position? Are you sold on the running back room? Is Tank Bigsby the guy you want to tie the wagon to? Travis Etienne seems to be somebody that just cannot be relied on in a more of a starting role. And then, of course, which side do you play Travis Hunter? In the file here, Travis Hunter is listed as a corner, but you could be a receiver. He's got the stats for it. It's not like he's only built as a corner. Brian Thomas needs help. Put Travis Hunter over there. Now you just got to worry about your cornerback room, but your wide receivers are figured out. There is no true starting tight end here. You got to figure that out as well. The right side of the offensive line needs fixing. Defensive tackles are not in the best spot. And of course, your outside linebacker needs to be found. So there are a lot of questions with the Jaguars. A lot of big ones, a lot of small ones. That's why I have them as number 4, but they're also not higher because I feel like they're on these lists every single year. And I know it. Somebody's like, oh, it's always the Jaguars. I get it, man. I do, but I can't lie. You know, like, they're interesting. So, and they got white helmets now, so you can make them look even flashier than normal. So that's why they're number 4. And now let's get on to number 3 team. And the number 3 team is going to be, well, the number 1 team from the draft, the Tennessee Titans. The Titans come into this season with $75.4 million in cap space, all 7 picks, of course. And then they have only 2 real noteworthy re-signs, and that is the Darrell Baker and Daryl Worley in the secondary. Building blocks. This one is not as big either. This is sort of like the Jaguars, where you don't have a ton of talent. But of course, you got Cam Ward, the number 1 pick. Make him great? I think you probably can. Tyjae Spears could be a guy you could build around. They have a great left side of the line with J.C. Latham and Peter Skoronski. Defensive tackle T'Vondre Sweat is a definite anchor for you on that D-line, along with Jeffrey Simmons, who, of course, is getting up there a little bit. Not the youngest anymore, but is still a beast. And then in the secondary, you have L'Jarius Sneed to help you build along that corner group later on down the line. And now that rebuild focus, the wide receiver room for the Titans has been a mess for so long, and it still is. You have to find some type of something. I don't know if there's anybody there worth keeping. I don't know if you see one that you really like and you want to build up. Great, but something's got to get figured out in that wide receiver room if Cam Ward is going to have any shot of being good in your franchise. And then finding, again, a lot of these teams, man, they do not have a solidified tight end. And so many times people overlook how important a tight end is. You got to find a good one. I know dude's name, but I can't say it, at tight end for the Titans. I think he might be a decent number 2, but I don't know if you can make him a number 1 at this point in Madden. Again, this is for Madden, not real life, people. Don't come at me in the comments about this. In Madden, I don't know if you can establish him as a great number 1 anymore, unless you sort of cheese it. Again, their left side's great, but the right side of the line is going to need some attention. Simmons and Sweat are the only bright spots really on the entire D-line. You got to find some more people to go along with both of them on the other side, and of course in the middle with Sweat. The linebacker room and edge just needs to be overhauled. The Titans have been a team that I feel like for the last few years, maybe even 5 years, have just never really had a true identity. It's just been plug and play to try to see if something works, and none of it has. So for this, just do something. Give him an identity. The corner room is good. You have Sneed to hold you over, but it's not going to be a long-term solution. You're going to have to start bringing some guys in the secondary, and like I said, safeties as well. Just that whole defense right now, that whole thing's got to be revamped. Add some weapons for Cam Ward, and that should give you a quality team. But again, there's a lot of work that needs to be done with the Titans if Cam Ward is going to be as successful as he can be in this league. So you want to make sure that you're putting all the pieces in there, which is why this team should be really fun to have to do a rebuild for. All right, so now it brings us down to the top 2 teams. And again, you guys might not agree with the way I have this list. Maybe you don't like the order I have the teams. Maybe you don't like the teams I have at all. You guys can make your own list and let me know what you guys think. But these are the teams that I said. I'm looking at Madden 25, the starting normal, the preseason week 1 of 2024, using different rosters. These are the teams that I thought would be the most fun to give you something to work towards, and also give you some play money with the cap room in order to make sure you're not too, cap strict or whatever it is. So number 2 team, and this one again is another team that's usually on these lists, but what are you going to do? It's the NFL. This is what happens, and it is going to be the Cleveland Browns. So the Cleveland Browns, of course, they have $77.3 million in cap. They do not have a lot of draft picks, though. Not all of their own. First, second, third, fourth, and sixth are what they are coming in with. Your big re-signs are Jedrick Wills, of course, at left tackle, and then your defensive end and tight end depth. In both areas, multiple, about 80% of the guys you have under contract are up for re-sign in year one, so you'll have to be aware of that. And then the building blocks, there's a lot of them on this team, and it's going to be really determined on what vision you have for the Browns if you decide to make a franchise with them. And of course, quarterback Shedeur Sanders. You also have Dylan Gabriel, but on this roster, he's not the best overall. Sanders is better than him, which is why I have him listed instead. But you could really go either direction. You have Quinshawn Judkins at running back, Jerry Jeudy, who is a beast, David Njoku, Mason Graham, Myles Garrett, Carson Schwessinger. I think I just spelled his name wrong now I'm seeing it. Jayawusu Koroma, yeah, the really good outside linebacker. You guys know who I'm talking about. Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, and then Ronnie Hickman, I think, is a good option here as well. And that brings us to the rebuild. So what do you do to do at quarterback? Gabriel, Sanders, somebody else? I mean, are you going to keep Deshaun Watson? You know what I mean? There's a lot of different scenarios here. Jerry Jeudy, get this man some help at wide receiver. Tight end, again, needs to be rebuilt. Not just the starter, though, the whole room. Njoku is there. He's not up for re-sign, but everybody else is going to be gone. So just start from scratch there. The offensive line and defensive line are all weak and aging. Well, okay, offensive line is more so just aging. They're not exactly too weak, but you get what I'm trying to say. The front down linemen on both sides of the ball are going to have to be reworked completely. Then the linebacker group as well. You have, you know, one or two guys there, but you have a couple of holes that you need to fill in the linebacker. And then at safety, do you like Hickman? I've enjoyed using him in my Panthers franchise, even though he doesn't start. He seems to be making some really cool plays. So maybe he's somebody you can build around at the free safety or even strong safety position and, you know, go from there. And of course, I will show you like the roster that I'm looking at after I finish showing you the first team, and then we'll go from there. But the Browns are sort of interesting, right? I mean, there's a lot of what ifs on that team. And of course, it's the Browns. Can you finally make the Browns great? Who knows? But that leaves us with the number one team. And the number one team is probably something you're already anticipating. And the reason I have them here is just because of all of the exciting pieces and what possibilities are for the team. And that is going to be the New York Giants. So with the New York Giants, you come in with $54.1 million in cap space. They don't have the most cap. It's actually the least amount of cap out of all 5 teams that I chose. They have all 7 of their picks, plus the Buffalo's 7th round pick. Up for re-sign, though, there is a lot of depth that needs to be re-signed, but no notable starters. So you don't have to worry too much about your starters, but the depth on this team is not in a good spot when it comes to longevity. The building blocks, though, you have so many, and I'm so excited about some of these players that, like, I would like to build the Giants, right? Like Jackson Dart, Cam Scatteraboo, Malik Neighbors, Theo Johnson, can't forget Wan'Dale Robinson, of course. Andrew Thomas can be your bookend left tackle. You bring in Abdul Carter. Now you also have Kayvon Thibodeau. You also have Brian Burns, Bobby Okereke. I mean, the safeties are great, Javon Holland and Tyler Nubin. So you have a lot of pieces here with the Giants. It's just filling in the rest of the cracks and making some of these players into the players that they can be, and you should have yourselves a really, really fun franchise. And then the rebuild focus, you know, it seems to be something that every team needs to work on to some respect, but the offensive line needs to just be fully rebuilt outside of Thomas at left tackle. You need to figure out the identity on the front 7. You got a lot of pieces now. You got Carter, Thibodeau, and Brian Burns, all 3 edge rushers on the team. Are you going to keep all 3? Do you get rid of one of them? Do you change up the defensive front from a 3-4 to a 4-3 to accommodate? Like, there's a lot of questions to ask here. And also middle linebacker. That also depends on what you do with, you know, your defense. If you switch to a 4-3, you're sort of set there with Okereke at middle linebacker. But if you are staying in the 3-4, you need a second option that's going to help that defense. And then again, are you building around Jackson Dart? And do you like Tracy Jr. at halfback? Is he a guy that you're willing to lean on, or do you want to go with Scatteraboo? Is he a guy that you can lean on for all 3 downs, or do you need to bring in another guy to go along with him? Just some of the fun things you can do with this Giants team is something that I could not have them not on the list. And I just decided after looking at all these teams, especially considering that the Jaguars have been on the list every year for years, they needed to be number 1. And I know you might not agree with all that, but that's why I make the video. And you get to yell at me in the comments about it, right? So now I want to show you guys that roster that I found that I thought was a good one. I downloaded a couple of them, and this was actually the one that had almost every player that I could think of. Whoever created this did a good job of doing so, in my opinion, so I feel like it's worthwhile. So let me see. All right, so this is the only roster that I could find for this guy, Austin 05. I downloaded the initial roster, which is called Madden 26 Updated Draft, but I couldn't find it searching his username anymore, but I did find it under 26 Madden Backup, as you see here right above, right up here. So this is the roster I'm showing you guys today. If it's not there when you guys search for it, I'm sorry. I don't know. This whole community system is really janky and broken in Madden. They really need to fix it, but they probably won't. So this is just what we're dealing with. So, and this is also the Reddit post that he made for it on Madden Reddit. So if you're looking for it and maybe ask some questions, maybe he uploaded it differently. I'm not 100% sure. It is on PlayStation 5. I don't know if this works on a cross-account platform, but this is just what I use. I use PlayStation 5. But yeah, so if you're interested in downloading this roster after you see it, go ahead and look for this one. It's Austin 0_05, and he's got a couple of them here just in case you can't find the other ones. And now I'm in a franchise now with the file that I was just talking about. So we're going to go to team salaries. And again, I just started fresh from Madden 2024 franchise. It's nothing new. It's not a start today from the online portion. It's just, you know, the run-of-the-mill roster, but it does have all of the rookies. Like I'm a Vikings fan, and I usually can tell if somebody actually puts time into the roster if they have like some of the lower end picks on here and some of the roster moves. Like they have Sam Howell on here, that didn't happen until, you know, the second or third day of the draft. So I know it's updated. And it's got, you know, all of the guys here that were picked by the Vikings, like Ty Felton, even Gavin Bartholomew. I mean, they got everybody on here. So this person did go through and they really put a lot of work into the players that are on this roster, along with, you know, all the big name guys, of course. Just because I know everybody's going to ask, I'm going to show you what, we're going to look at Travis Hunter. He is listed as a corner, but if you go into his player card and go to his ratings, you'll be able to see that he does have ability to catch as well. He is good at receiving as well as playing corner. So, of course, you can adjust these to fit what you think a player should be, but he has a 78 overall or 80 overall corner. I'm sure he'd be a decent wide receiver as well based off the ratings that I see, and you can flip-flop him around all you wish to make sure that he is what you expect him to be. But overall, I think this is a good roster. Again, you're going to want to start from a normal franchise. You're not starting from today on like the week-to-week update thing. You're starting a fresh Madden 24 based off of my numbers. You can do whatever you want. I'm just telling you what I did. And then I used that Austin's roster to bring in because it had everything up to date and accurate. And those are the numbers that I showed you, like the cap space and all that stuff, and the draft picks is what's in the file here. I'm not saying this is what the team has in real life. I know that is not 100% accurate, okay? This is just for Madden 25. So that is going to wrap up this video. Again, if you guys don't like the teams I chose, let me know down below which teams I should have chose, right? Who did I get wrong? I think this is a good list to take yourself out of Madden 25 and into Madden 26. It should give you plenty of challenge. It should give you plenty of young players to try to build up. And you still got plenty of money to be able to play around with the roster as much as you like. You're not strapped by the cap and forced to do certain things or keep certain players. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are down below. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Before you leave, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on that bell notification so you know when my videos go live. And I'll see you guys next time.